Well, good evening, guys, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast live. Tell me how you're feeling tonight. Tell me how it's looking. Day after, evening after what was just genuinely a dreadful performance last night, an awful performance last night, and some interesting developments today post game. Some interesting comments made by Dujon Sterling. Some interesting comments made by Philippe Clement post game as well. Guys, it's just incredible. Absolutely mad that we are in this position. Just before we get going tonight, just a quick sort of bit of housekeeping. So if you're watching this, guys, and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, we are currently sitting on 5,471 subscribers. We'd love to hit 6K by the end of the season. If you can smash that sub and help us get to our target of 6,000 subs by Hearts away, then that would be absolutely phenomenal. So please obviously help us to get there. Well, obviously, we welcome all your comments tonight. We welcome everything as we try and obviously get our heads around this situation we find ourselves in. Stuart says, all evening, Stuart, how are you doing, buddy? And Stuart says he's not looking forward to Sunday. Got to watch the players that simply don't care or want to win. CJ and I in the live chat says, evening, folks. Guys, it's just another disappointing end to the season, another capitulation from Rangers. It's quite, for me, alarming. You've got Dujon Sterling, who comes out tonight and is very, very honest in his remarks, very, very open in his remarks that he made to the media. In his interview, Dujon Sterling made the following comment. He said, this is his exact comment. This is Dujon Sterling. If you haven't seen the video, guys, obviously please check out the video. But this is what Dujon said in his interview with the media. He said, listen, he says, we've been shit for the past few games. We're fighting for a title, but the way we're playing, it's like the season's dead. I don't know if the belief is there. Wow. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. So Dujon Sterling has come out and said that in his opinion, we are shit. We have been shit for the last few games. He says the season seems to be dead, and he doesn't know if the belief is still there. Highland troops, well done to Dujon for being honest and yes, pissed off after last night, says Ewan Minton. Aren't we all, Ewan? And Blue Nose John says, good evening, Owen. The West Ham versus Leverkusen game is quite tasty. Let's hope Leverkusen knock West Ham out. Sorry, guys, not a fan of West Ham. Do not like them in the slightest. So, look, let's obviously get through this tonight and try and kind of bring some perspective on what's happening. I've got to say, I don't know what you all thought of the games, the post-match comments last night from Philippe Clement. But, as I've said on that banner there, Dujon Sterling said we were shit. Clement said we bossed the game. Who is right? Who are you with on this comment? What's your view on this? I genuinely am. I'm with Dujon. I 100% am with Dujon. He's spot on. We were shit. I don't honestly know what Philippe Clement watched. I watched these. I've got to say, I listened to the post-match interview with Philippe Clement. I listened to his words, and I genuinely sat there and genuinely thought, well, I've just done a live stream, Philippe. I've just watched the game. I've just watched it with a real sort of interest, a real sort of focus because of doing a stream last night. And I'll be honest with you, I think we watched different games. I don't know whether you were watching a rerun of an earlier game on your phone or something like that, whether you were doing that or what you were doing, but you weren't watching the game last night because I'm sorry, we did not boss anything in the game last night. Dundee were not lucky. Dundee had no chances on goal, apparently. Well, they could have been up, they could have been 1-0 up inside 30 seconds, Philippe. Look, I'm not saying Philippe Clement should go because that is utterly ludicrous because he's a good manager. He will turn this round, I think, if he's given the funds in the summer to do that. And I want to talk about that a little bit as well tonight. But I'll be honest with you, I genuinely was utterly bemused by those post-match comments. Utterly bemused by those post-match comments. CJ and I says he liked the Sterling interview, good and honest, could be captain material. CJ and I agree with you. Him and Jack Butland, for me, would make excellent captains. At least someone at the club talks some sense, says Stuart, because Clement talked out of a hole. He did talk out of a hole and it wasn't his mouth. Absolutely. Sterling, yeah, Blue Nose, I'm not taking it as offence, buddy. It's absolutely fine. I was going to actually come on to this point tonight. No offence to you, Owen, but we've got too many English lads in the squad. We need more Rangers supporting Scots. Pete Curry says, we did not boss anything. Of course we did not boss anything. We did not boss a single thing last night. Agreed. John, too much dross in the team. Only thing they care about is their wages. They're not interested in winning games. Clearly, I agree. I agree. As I said on the reaction video last night, Tav doesn't give a shit. He'll go back, get in his Lamborghini and drive off. He's a happy man. Bluebell says, two opposite ends of the spectrum. PC fed us utter shite. Sterling went full unfiltered facts. Just hope Sterling doesn't suffer consequences of that move. Bluebells, that's my one fear for this interview, that he will get a backlash from the players and a possible punishment from the manager for coming out and being as openly honest as he was, especially as obviously those comments went in complete opposite to what the manager had said in his post-match interview. Philippe Clement talking last night about us bossing games, about us having the best chances, about being unlucky. We weren't unlucky last night. We were, in Dujon Sterling's words, shit. And I think that's utterly honest. Now, look, I accept that Philippe Clement cannot come out and cannot just say, we were rubbish, players were terrible, players didn't fight, there was no heart, no ball, blah, blah, blah. He can't do that. I accept that. He can't throw the players under the bus, can he? No, of course he can't. But there is ways, of handling that interview slightly better than he actually did, of actually talking a little bit more sense than he actually did. And I think, the way to come out in that interview for me is you come out and you say, it was a disappointing performance. The result is not what we wanted. We could have played a lot better. We could have put in a little bit more effort. We needed to take our chances. We'll work on it in the training ground, etc., etc. Be more open and honest. Don't try and protect your players to that degree, because you are going to piss the fans off. And I think we saw at full time how our fans were feeling. And I think you've kind of got, in a microcosm there with the away fans, a real kind of demonstration of how Rangers fans are really feeling. There's away fans that go home and away. Those away fans that get tickets and actually, go away from home and follow the team everywhere, whether it's at Dundee or Aberdeen or Kilmarnock or at St Johnstone or Ross County or wherever they go. They 100% watch everything. They're 100% honest about what they said and their remarks. The way they were with the players last night. I mean, you saw fans mouthing at the players, particularly Connor Goldson, to fuck off. That was their exact words, pointing. And then you've got Cyril Dessers going to the crowd and telling them to calm down. I mean, where the hell does he get off telling the fans how to behave? You know what, Cyril? If you don't like it, you know where the door is. Door's there. Get out of my club, because you are not welcome. Evening, John. How you doing? Still back, come on. But if we start next season with the same losers, we will have the same questions. Yeah, absolutely. If we start next season with Tavernier and Goldson and Lundstrom, then yes, I agree. It will be back to square one, 1,000,000%, guys. 100%. Stone Cody, Steve Austin, love the name. I can't wait for the season to be over. Me too. It's just fallen away, hasn't it? There was such expectancy and hope. I think there were still people commenting after the Ross County game that we were 6 games from a treble, or 8 games from a treble, I think it was. Not anymore. Not anymore, guys. We lost the league. Celtic haven't even played, and we've managed to lose the league. I think it's quite incredible. Everyone's screaming, get rid of this, get rid of that. Simply, we don't have the cash to replace them, says Eddie. I think the cash will have to be generated. I do think there will be sales in the summer. I think there will be players on their way out over the summer to generate income, obviously freeing up of wages, with some players like Roof leaving, Jack leaving, Balogun probably leaving as well. I do unfortunately think that Jack Butland will leave as well. I genuinely don't think we'll hang on to Butland. If an offer of 20 million, 15, 20 million comes in for Jack Butland, I think the board will accept, because they will use that money to reinvest in the squad and to build the squad back up. So I think there will be ways of generating that income, Eddie. It will be just to what extent the rebuild comes about. But I think the non-negotiables for me, Eddie, is that James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Lundstrom all have to go. They all have to go. Tav has been a good servant for the club. Goldson has been a good servant for the club, but their time is up. Their time is up. You need a leader on that field. James Tavernier is not a leader. And if I hear another argument, oh, his goals this, his penalties that, his free kicks that, I'm going to fucking scream, because I'm telling you this, Cantwell can take penalties. Seamer can take penalties. You know what? Ridvan can take free kicks. Seamer can take free kicks. I'm sure we can find someone who can take a corner because why does James Tavernier have to take every set piece when his delivery is getting worse game on game? Don't get it. PC lost more fans' confidence with the presser than he has with the result. Don't treat the fans like fools, says Bluebells. I agree with you on that one. The comments that he made were incredulous. I really do. I look forward to his press conference and what he's got to say ahead of the Hearts game. I really do, because I'm hoping that the media, and in particular, you know, guys, I hope that the fan media that attend these press conferences, the Chris Jacks, the Joshua Barrys, the David Edgars, Stevie Cliffords of this world, actually develop a pair and actually ask him, was he being serious in what he said? You know, what is he seeing that we're not seeing? And actually, you know, ask him, you know, where is about this mentality the players seem to have developed when the pressure comes on that they just hide, you know, because there needs to be some balls from some of these people who go to these press conferences and actually ask these questions, because they need to do it. Arnie says Big Phil needs to get rid of the deadwood and wage pickers before anything will change. First three out the door would be Goldson, Tav and Lundstrom. I agree 100%. I've seen Rangers teams since 74 and this one is spineless. Absolutely, it is spineless. It is. When the pressure, look, I've read Stephen Davis's comments today. Stephen Davis said in an article that he doesn't think there's anything wrong with the mentality, that he doesn't think there's a fragility to them and to these players. I disagree with Stephen Davis. I kind of have to look, no disrespect to Stephen Davis, because the guy is Rangers royalty, but at the end of the day, the one thing I will say about Davis is he has a loyalty to these players. These are his mates. These are the guys that he's kind of come through with, and you do stick by your mates, don't you? That's what you do. So you know that's the thing. Obviously, Stuart says Clement had the balls to take Campbell off after 30 minutes for not following instructions, but can't take Goldson off when he's clearly making massive mistakes. Don't get it. Yeah, John Brown, 11 John Browns would be phenomenal. That'll be a lot of red cards these days, 100%. Score some goals, Dossers. That will make us calm down. Absolutely agreed on that one. If next season doesn't start well, then PC will also be getting the tin tack. I agree. He will, John. 100%. Too many Tavar slickers. Agreed. If Clement thinks he can trust Tav, Goldson, Lunny and co, tell him to ask Gio and Beale how that worked out for them. I think that's a great point, buddy. I think that's a fantastic point. You know, Gio technically is a very good manager. I think that Gio had weaknesses. I don't. Guys. Come on, change. Hello there, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, let's get back to that. He does need to grow a big pair of balls. He does, and get rid of them. Lol, Bluebells. What have we got here? Stephen Davis should look at the way these players treated him when he was in charge. I agree with you on that one. Arnie says, surely we must have a young lad in the academy that can score goals, as Dessers is pure pish. The problem is, I suppose, that would have been Zach Lovelace, but Zach Lovelace is injured again. There is obviously questions about his future now. Apparently, he wants to move on in the summer, wants to head back down south. There is a fragility to this squad. It's been demonstrated time in, time out. It just has no answers. And it's poor. It's poor. Eddie, Tav, Goldson, Jack, Roof, Dessers, McLaughlin, Wright, Silver, Lundstrom all need to be shown the door. Eddie, I think you're right. Scott Wright's another one on that list. Ben Davis, I think you can add to that list as well. Silver, I think, will go anyway. End of loan. We can't afford to pay what Wolves want for him. I wouldn't want to pay what Wolves want for him either. I don't think he's up to it. I think he's come up to Scotland with the wrong attitude. I think he's come up with the attitude of Scotland's easy. I'll walk it up there. He hasn't. He's been poor. He's been very poor. I've still discussed it that these players let Stephen Davis down in Limassol. Blue Nose, you're right. I don't know where this false loyalty of Stephen Davis comes from. I suppose, again, it's stick by your mates, but your mates let you down, Stephen. 100% correct, Blue Nose. Rangers need to complete change of tactics. Watching the same old shite style of play is depressing to watch. Every team we play against puts 11 men behind the ball, and there's nothing to change it. P. Curry, we need a plan B. We need something to unlock. We need a set of tactics. We need 2 out-and-out wingers. We need to look. If you're going against a low block, right, and you play with wingers coming in off the wing, now Seema was giving us a bit of width yesterday, okay? But Matondo, when he was on at the end of the game, was cutting in on his right foot. The Silva, again, was cutting in on his right foot the whole time. At the end of the day, the problem is when you play against the low block, if you're cutting in and you're not using any width, and I think we are missing Ridvan, don't get me wrong, I think not having Ridvan is really hurting us because he did give us that natural width. He had the ability to go down the outside to create a bit of width. When you play against the low block, you just slam the middle. They condense the middle of the pitch, right? They condense their back four, they condense their midfield five into like a back 10 with the goalkeeper, one man on the halfway line as a breakout ball, and they condense. Now, if you're constantly coming inside, all that happens is that 9 players, they sit, they set, they don't move. And unless you've got players of the quality of Kevin De Bruyne or Mohamed Salah or Martin Odegaard or Jude Bellingham, you struggle to unlock that sort of defense. Now, if you're Manchester City, who come up against that week in, week out, and you've got Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Julian Alvarez, Erling Haaland, you've got the quality to unlock those tight, closed doors. We don't have players, as good a player as, let's say, Seema is, as good a player as Cantwell can be. They're not De Bruyne. They're not Alvarez. They're not Odegaard. They're not Salah. They're not in that class level. They really genuinely aren't. Or Bellingham. So for me, you've got to have someone who can unlock a door. Now, the best way to do that is to spread that back four. Now, the way to spread a back four and to spread a midfield is to use a wide attack as well. So to have 2 wide players who are out and out wide players and a 10 as well who is effective and a striker who is effective, because then you've got a situation where the team that is defending know that you can go around the outside of them with your fullbacks and your wingers, or you can come through the middle at them. So they're having to spread to mark the wingers. By spreading, you're creating space in the channels. So the ball comes inside, you can feed it in through the channels. If you don't, if they condense, you go round the outside. You've got to vary the points of attack. And for me, we are not varying the points of attack enough. To me, we are playing a very boring, predictable game. Also, against the low block, you need to play with speed. You can't play it passive. You can't play it slow. You've got to play positive, forward, attacking, speedy, momentous football. We're not doing that. We're playing it slow. It's predictable. Goldson to Suter, Suter to whoever the left back is, back to Suter, to Goldson, to Tav to halfway, back to Goldson, back to Suter. Suter then will try and play it forward, by which point they've all dropped in. Solid 9-10 players, no way through. It's too slow. It's passive. It's ridiculous. Guys, it's got to be played quickly. It's got to go from Goldson up into the midfield, from the midfield, foot out wide or into that 10 to create space. Move it quickly. Move it with some speed. Unsettle them. Don't let them get back. Don't let them settle in. Don't let them sit in. But we're letting them do all those things. And for Clement to come out last night and say we had a structure. What sort of structure did we have last night? It wasn't a good one. It didn't work. PC is a good manager who's proven he has balls. We need to get rid of the deadwood now, not after they steal a wage for another 2 years. Yeah, absolutely agreed with you on that one. Silver's the no Dewey Barton. Decent. Silver can't handle the physicality of this league. Stuart, he can't. There's a lot of players that come up here and think that Scotland's going to be a walkover, that Scotland's going to be an easy job for them. But they don't. They've got to realise it's a different challenge to playing in England. It's a different challenge to playing in Europe. There's a physicality to our league. There's a speed, allegedly, to our league. And you've got to use it. And they're not. You've got to have a physicality to cope in our league. Seema, not the same player when he's played wide right. Play him wide left again, off through the middle. Jimmy, excellent point. Brilliant point. And we've got Dessers, who couldn't open a padlock if you give him the key. Yeah, I've heard some really funny ones. If Dessers had been the shooter, President Kennedy would still be alive. If Dessers fell out of a boat, he couldn't hit the water, etc., etc. Mark Webster, not having a clinical striker is coming back to haunt us. Still, that performance last night was abysmal. No fight, no passion. He needs to get his own team in. Agreed. We need another Neil McCann. That will be a cracking player to have. What about the Champions League money? The Tims will be rolling in cash. What do you think, Bears? They will be. They'll be absolutely rolling in cash. They'll probably get money from the sale. They'll probably sell Matt O'Reilly and get money for him. They'll sell, I think they're selling, who's the other player? They're selling another player. I can't remember the name of him now. I don't really care. He's a Tim. And then they'll get about 60 million from the Champions League. So they're going to be looking at over £100 million coming into the club over the summer. What have we got coming in? A little bit of Europa League money. It's not up to it. It's just not good enough. Play team up forward. Agreed. Thank you, Gordon. I try. I've got some basic football knowledge. New captain next season. Dujon, Kenneth, agree. I think he'd make a real good captain. Lawrence hasn't kicked the ball recently either. Lawrence has been really poor. Look, I like Tom Lawrence. Don't get me wrong. And go back and watch my videos and see, I do like Tom Lawrence, but he has been very poor recently. Very, very poor. When these players don't know how to pass the ball with speed, pathetic. Agreed. Absolutely. We are not outfoxing other teams. We're not, Rob. Absolutely not. Right now, I'd even sell Campbell in the summer. He's that bad, says Blue Nose John. I suppose, he isn't putting in a shift. He is not putting in a shift. I agree with you. I'm worried that Clement isn't going to do what's required. He keeps playing players like Tav, Golson and Lundstrom. What if he sees them as important players next season? David, that is a real worry, I think, for everybody. That is a real concern for everybody. And it's something that I am genuinely, honestly terrified at. I really am worried about the future of our club if next season you've got a situation where Tav is leading us out and Goldson's still playing. If that's still the case, we don't win anything next season either. I just really genuinely hope that Clement is starting to see these players for what they are, and serial bottle jobs. They are absolute bottle jobs. Tav is a bottle job. Lundstrom is a bottle job. Goldson is a bottle job. I don't know what to say. I really don't. Joe 90 says, evening on evening, Joe. How you doing, Joe? Good to have you here. Silver Wentworth, £3.50. When Gerrard was here, it was always to the wingers and get the ball to the 18-yard line and pick out the weaknesses, through balls across the face of goal. We scored more. We did, absolutely. Hugh Adams, who else has he got? Well, I think, to me, there's players there we should be trying. There's genuinely players there we should be trying. I mean, I honestly don't understand why Leon Balogun, when he's fit, isn't getting a game. I would personally start Suter and Balogun. I think that would be the best two centre backs. Hopefully, Ridvan's back on Sunday. If he's not, we're in trouble. It's a worrying one. It really is a worrying one. Now, if everybody was fit, obviously, let's discount Danilo because we know Danilo's not going to be available, right? We know he's not going to be there for the weekend because look, he isn't going to be back until the last game of the season. We know that Tav is not going to get dropped. That's just a simple fact. Okay, we know that Tav is not going to get dropped. It's never going to happen. Okay, it is not going to happen. Now, if we could get people fit and we could actually get people back, now we know as well that obviously that Cortez won't be back at the weekend either. He's not going to be available to play. He will be missing through injury. So he's out. So we can discount him as well. It does present a real problem for me as to who we play, where and when. Personally, I struggle. You ask who can he play? At the moment, I don't know. The team is weak. The team is very, very weak. It really genuinely is very, very weak. I honestly think that there is a real struggle there. Only two players that deserve to wear the shirt is Sterling and Butland, and we are selling them up the river to make them look shit, says Stuart. I agree with you on that point. If Big Phil sees that he's not the manager we think he is, I think, the problem is, Arnie, that come next season, if Tav and Goldson are still here, if Lundstrom's still here, if they're still starting next season, I think come Christmas time, we'll have a new manager again. I genuinely think Clement will be gone. Joe 90 says, just read the Ibrox Noises piece on how Clement got sacked at Monaco. I'll go away and read that after the pod. Do you think that Tav and Goldson have got something in their contracts that they must always play? I can't see a club agreeing to that. I genuinely can't see a club agreeing that someone has to play. I don't understand that one. Dujon Sterling is a young lad who's been played in different positions, yet still outshines the players who would play in this. Jimmy, that's a brilliant point. I think Dujon Sterling is our best right back, our best left back. He is our best defensive midfielder, and he's our best winger. And what's worrying is he was bought as a right back, yet he's the best player in all those positions. Guys, 70 people watching tonight, please smash that like. And if you've not yet subscribed, please hit the sub. Remember, we have a target of 6,000 subs by the end of the season. No player is bigger than the club. Absolutely, Arnie. I couldn't say it by myself. No player is bigger than this club. This club is the biggest club in the world. Absolutely. Let's be honest, football is a game of fine margins. The likes of Dundee make it hard for the Gers. Tav tried his best and doesn't deserve any abuse. He's been great for Celtic. Lol. A lot of knee-jerk reactions and exciting running. My ball to what? What is the knee-jerk reactions to? What, the players are bottle merchants? Absolutely. They are bottle merchants. You tell me what from the last few seasons tells you they're not bottle merchants. I'd love to know. Evening, Gareth. How you doing? Goldson should have been sold after he cost us that European final. Even back then, he was blaming someone else, always shouting at Bassey. Yeah, but the thing is, I think he's even stopped doing that. He looks confused. He looks confused. My ball, disagree. Tav's let us down for the last 3 seasons. Tell me what Tav's done. Right? This is what annoys me about people who see Tav as a Tav has been a good player in the past, but he's a Rangers captain that isn't a captain. He's not a leader on the field. You know, no point yesterday was he getting into the players. Was he shaking the players by his shoulders? Was he getting in, you know, leading and being a vocal leader on that pitch? He was none of those things yesterday. He was absolutely shite yesterday, if I'm being honest. And I get the whole goals thing. He scores goals. Well, you know what? Like I said, the majority of his goals come from set pieces, penalties and free kicks. And you're telling me that nobody else could do that? Yeah, absolutely. Too quick to call Tav the best right back in Scotland and then slate him. It's ridiculous. Look, you go back across my videos. I've questioned Tav all season. Thinking league was ours, now destroyed by bad times. He's a Hall of Famer. He is a Hall of Famer. I think it's a disgrace that Tav's in the Hall of Fame. I don't think Tav should be in the Hall of Fame. I really don't. You tell me. This is what I want. This is one thing that really gets to me, right? As a guy, as someone who started supporting Rangers back in the Sooners era. I think, you know, we have been spoilt. Yes, we did worse. So those of us who grew up with Sooners and Smith and Advocat and McLeish, Big Eck, you know, that era. Yes, we were spoilt. Yes, we saw some amazing footballers, you know, Laudrup and Gaza and Amaruso and Negri and Perso and Yelovich and Terry Butcher and Ali McCoist and Mark Walters, you know, amazing names. But you know, we won trophies. We won competitions. We won things. 3 trophies in 12 years is not good enough for this club. Not when across the city they are winning every single trophy every single year and catching up fast with our record. 3 trophies in the last 12 years is not good enough for a club like Rangers. To be fair, my ball looks like he's got hoops in the picture there. I'd drop Goldson for the semi, can play Big Balogun. I'd look seriously at playing Roof and Dessers. Interesting call there. Big Balogun, yeah, I agree. For me, Big Balogun has to play. He genuinely has to play. I can't see how you can start with Connor Goldson. He is one of the worst players in this squad at this moment in time. He is fucking awful. What else have we got in the comments? Arnie says, some people can't see the wood for the trees. Tav is keeping Sterling out of his natural position and Tav can't defend, says Stuart Allison. Spot on about Tav, great player but not a captain, says the Dark Knight. Did you notice that Goldson pulled his socks up last night? Maybe the criticism is getting to him, possibly. All dogs have their day. Clement has done miracles with the team, cup in a trophy room, time to calm down, still in the race, crazy backlash. My boy, it's not a crazy backlash. We are winning, not winning the league this season. I'm sorry, but anybody who thinks that we go to Parkhead and win is in cloud cuckoo land. Even if we win at Parkhead, then we've got to improve our goal difference and hope they slip up again now to win the league. It's not going to happen. It just is not going to happen. Tav is not the best right back in the country. He's shit. Time to admit it, says Stuart. The league was won. Most important, it stopped them winning 10. I remember Septic were giving 7. Yeah, they were. I heard the Super Scoreboard said that Tav said in the matchday program they fall apart this time of the season because they get scared. I really hope that's not true. My ball, we are in no race. The title is over, says Stuart. Tav has never been a Hall of Famer for me either, says Jackson. Although I'm absolutely raging with the team, I won't be giving up anything until it's mathematically over. Am I mad? No, you're not mad. You're a fan. You're a fan. And that's what we do. Goldson needs drop for sure, Owen. I'd play Balogun, especially at the big pitch at Hamdump. Absolutely agree with you. I played a charity match at Hamden with two of the biggest Rangers fans that are my friends. At least I kept them out of my picture. They also nicked the Celtic tops. Fair enough. 3-5-2, Seamer and Roof, says Kenneth Elliott. Interesting. I can't see him changing his formation. I'd rather see, but I'd love to see someone like Bailey Rice get a run out, Scots Viking. I'd love to see someone like Robbie Fraser get a game. You know, if it is that Ridvan is out again on Sunday, I'd rather see Sterling in midfield and put Robbie Fraser at left back, put John Lee Yefeko at left back. I don't want to see Borna Barisic, that's for sure. 100%. David says Tav gets a ridiculous amount of excuses made for him, and the fact he's a terrible captain. I've seen people saying the captaincy doesn't mean anything and Tav leads by example. It's all rubbish. One of the lads touched a very good point last night. The team was a European Cup finalist. How can we become that shit from that kind of standard? Great point, Curry. I don't know how we can get to that level. Philippe, can I get a game now? Says Robert Rankin. Agree, Joe. Says Gareth. Most of the players that made it to the final are gone now. Lawrence and Dowell have been awful signings, says Stuart. Dowell has not been great. I think, you know, Dowell's out injured all the time. I mean, realistically, you know, look, for me, if we had some of these players back, if we had Diamande back from his thumb injury, if Ridvan's back on Sunday, this is how I would line up on Sunday. Butland, look, Tav isn't going to be dropped. I don't care what we all say. We can all throw as much dirt his way, but he's not going to get dropped. Clement's not going to drop him. So let's say he's in the team. Suter and Balogun, Goldson has to be dropped. I'm sorry, but Goldson has got to go. He is fucking awful. I mean, did you see his passing last night? How bad was his passing last night? I will do CJ and I'll check that out. Don't worry, buddy. Yeah, 100%. You know what? For me, he's got to go. His passing last night was absolutely awful. It was all over the place. It really genuinely was. You know, his long balls all the time were either to the stand or to the goalkeeper. It was just shit. Balogun for me on the left side. Ridvan, if he's fit, starts at left back. Midfield, Sterling for me is our best central midfielder. He's our best central midfielder. He runs through brick walls. He tackles anything that moves. His distribution is good. He gets forward. He gets back. He goes box to box. I'd put him in there. Dio, if he's fit, has to start alongside him. I think we have missed Diamande. I think Diamande is a good player. McCausland on the right, Seamer on the left, and Cantwell. I've missed Cantwell out from that list. How embarrassing. But Cantwell in the 10 role, basically because there's nobody else. And Seamer on the left, and I'd start Roof up top. I would not allow Dessers anywhere near this team at all. In the ideal world, we will give Hearts another doing to lift spirits, says Gareth Robertson. We certainly hope so. Curry says, you're supposed to get players better your squad, not worsen it. Agreed. Get Balogun back in there as we need pace if we're playing a high line. Agreed. And Balogun, for me, has been excellent this season. He really genuinely has been very, very good this season. Roof looked absolutely finished last night, to be honest. He looks close to retirement, says David. I think he needs match sharpness, David. I don't think he's got his match sharpness yet. People criticise Tab, but we have no one better to play there. We need Sterling in midfield, says James. Can't see this team win a game, never mind the next 6. Drink a whiskey or 2. Treble is still on. Who was the last striker to score 20 goals? I think it was in the 2010-2011 season. It probably was RFC 56. I'll have to look into that. Genuinely. What have we got? Just a quick update on the Europa League scores for you. Roma 2, Milan 0 at half-time. Marseille 0, Benfica 0. West Ham winning 1-0 against Leverkusen. Unfortunately, Liverpool winning 1-0 away in Atalanta. That obviously is too little too late. They are 3-0 down from the first leg. I don't know. I genuinely... It just beggars belief. It really does. I think we need to do something different. The last striker to hit 20 goals in a season, not in a league season, but in a season, was Alfredo Morelos in 2018-2019, apparently. There we go. What have we got here? Gareth says, need a treble, risky, absolutely. Dessers, Roof or Silva, we really are spoiled for choice, says David. Remember, Balogun played Tav's position and done a great job. He did. Very good point. Tav's comments on the programme and Goldson's comments in the League Cup semi against Hibs said it all for me. Defeatist attitude, and that was years ago, and yet they're still here. Kenny Miller was the last to score 20 goals in a season, says Bluebells are blue. Exactly. Strap the thumb to the hand and get it out of there. Sore thumb, question mark. If these players like Goldson and Tav are undroppable, why do we have to worry about standards? Agreed. Owing all these players we want to drop, we've seen this story and they're still here. Nothing is changing. That is the big worry, Stuart, that nothing has changed in all this time. It really is a major. Oh, you mean SPL goals? I'll find that out for you. It's time for the players to go, not the managers, as the same people are not stepping up on the pitch. That's the thing. I think, people have got to get that through their heads that at the end of the day, it's not the manager that's the problem. It is the players. It is the players. 100% is the players. You know what I mean? It is the players, 100%. Because to me, it's one of those things where you look at it and you kind of say, well, Gio failed, Beale failed, Beale was shit, but Beale failed, Clement is now failing. What's the common denominator? It's the players. It's the same group of players, the same core of players that are letting us down time after time after time. Did Diaz hurt his thumb punching McGregor or Taylor in the Old Firm game? Well, that'll be good, wouldn't it? And Tav, Goldson, Lunny, others' time is up. Is the tail wagging the dog? Joe 90 says, I think there's a little bit of that to some extent. That is a worry for me. Now, Blue Nose John made an excellent point in the live chat earlier about Scottish players. We do need, I think, to be looking at Scottish players and bringing in Scottish players for next season, a core of Scottish players. I would really be looking at Lennon Miller, Connor Barron and Lawrence Shankland in this summer transfer window. Glennon Miller, Motherwell teenager, quality player, very good going forward, skillful, could really add something to our midfield. Connor Barron is out of contract at the end of the season. There will only be a compensation fee to pay. Again, I really hope Rangers have been looking at someone like Connor Barron. And Lawrence Shankland, I'm sorry to keep coming back to this, but if we had signed Lawrence Shankland in January, we would have won the league this season. Guarantee it. Guarantee. With Lawrence Shankland in this team, we win the league. I guarantee that. Tav Goldson, the Lunny, time is up. I broke my thumb. I still went to work with the pin sticking out, wrapped it up, finger red, thumb one, finger. Absolutely, 100%. We all do it. 100% the players. But if he gives Lundstrom a new deal, that's a massive worry. I mean, there is worrying reports about that. Chris Jack was saying the other day on Rangers Review that a new deal is close for Lundstrom. I do think that would be a major mistake now. Cheers, Bluebells. I can't believe it was that long ago. Clement needs to stop playing players that aren't match fit. Lawrence Roof should be nowhere near our first team, says Stuart Allison. John Brown has balls of steel. Well, he certainly did, didn't he, back in the day. What else have we got here? At the end of the day, we can be thankful we're not Tim's. That's a great point, Rangers. We are the people 1977 for. Follow. These players will still be here next season, making the same old mistakes, and Clement will get sacked, and that's another manager. Yeah, absolutely. I like Lawrence. I thought his first season injury was pish luck. There is a quality player in there, says Curry. Now, look, one thing I want to finish on to this tonight is this. One thing that does worry me is the board. I am very concerned about John Bennett and James Bisgrove. I think my concern about Ryan Porteous, Scott McKenna, Luke Jovic, Fortis and Dan Armstrong next season, says Kenneth Elliott. Lundstrom gets a new deal. Clement has lost it. Of course, Lenny will get a new deal. Just Goldson, says CJNI. Why did he play Roof when he's trying to avoid injury before he leaves us? Waste of a jersey, says Blue Nose John. Look, the board worry me. The board really worry me. John Bennett is Douglas Park's man. That's the concern. Douglas, the other thing that worries me about John Bennett was the fact that John Bennett said in January that not in January, he said in the AGM that in January he'd back his manager. Did he? Did he honestly back the manager in January? Because Philippe Clement came out and said that he had to raid some of the money from the summer transfer budget to get players in. So if that's the case, then he didn't really genuinely do that, did he? He didn't actually, he didn't actually back his manager, because if he had backed his manager, why is he having to raid the transfer fund from the summer to get money for players? That's the other worry. That's a big worry for me. The board need to back the manager. They need to somehow find investor and funds to back this manager and give him the players that he wants. Give Niels Koppen the tools to go out and get the players in. I think what they've done so far is promising. I think Diamande is a good player. I think Cortez is a good player. I think as well, James Bisgrove worries the hell out of me. He's very much all show and he's all, all fur coat and no knickers. And that is a real concern for me. At the end of the day, we need a team, a proper unit that works together and puts a shift in. Says, yeah, I agree. That's why we should be going for some of these Scottish players like Barron, like Shankland, like Miller. You know, get a bit of passion in there, a bit of fight in there. People who understand what it is to play for Rangers. People who understand Rangers as a club, you know, and understand Rangers' place in Scottish football. And I think you bring in more Scottish players. Walter Smith was never afraid to bring in Scottish players. Graham Souness was never afraid to bring in Scottish players. Why aren't we doing it still? Tav needs the backing from the fans. We're supposed to be the people. John Bennett is creaming himself about the 120,000 in wages to come in the summer. I know, small time. Something smells off to me. I think in reference to Bud, we didn't have enough money to buy Shankland and even Clement, even if Clement wanted him, says Stuart. If we sell players, Butland will go. Big money for him, but I don't want to see him leave. I think the problem will be that he will have to go because of the money they'll try and have to raise. Plus, I think that because Butland wants to play for England, I think he will have to go. He does want to go back down south. I really think that is the case. Stuart says, same, Erin. I think the board is all talk, no action, really starting to get worried for the future. Philip says, is Lennon Miller good? Is he not just a young player getting game time? Don't necessarily mean he's grade A. I think Lennon Miller is a good player. English Premier League clubs are looking at Lennon Miller. I know that Liverpool have looked at him. I know that Brighton are looking at him. You know, if English Premier League clubs are looking at him, then there's something about him there. We need to kind of take that into account. Bluebell says, technically, the board brought forward money, but they hadn't planned to. That said, we have never actually spent anything as everything was future fees, salaries aside. The Silver salary alone was about 2 million. I think the majority of Silver's fee, though, has been paid. Wages have been paid by Wolves, though, Bluebells. I think they're paying 80% of his wages. These players have had a massive backing. Time to get, they gave us something back. Agreed. It's more important that we build Edmiston House rather than properly invest in a team. I know that's the problem. We need Kim and Aggie style clear out. But Laidlaw is a good goalkeeper. Yeah, but I'm sorry, but I don't care how good he is. You know, it's Ross County. We should be. Those two chances Dessa's missed were fucking awful. Shankland scores them both. Miovski scores them both. TM, you're talking shit now. Absolute crap. Laidlaw is better than Butland. No, he's not. Golson is laughing at the fans with his £37,000 a week wages. How did a club like Rangers have no money to spend in January for the new manager? It's penny pinching. Agreed. Silver can do one with all that diving crap. I think that's something that has kind of alienated him. Absolutely. We are paying just under 40 grand a week towards Silver's salary, is my understanding. That's roughly 2 million outlay from us. Wow, that's mental. I don't know what his wages are. I know his wages are insane. Absolutely insane. Laidlaw over Butland. Are you ripping the pish? Says David P. I think he is, buddy. I think he's drunk. But yeah, guys, look, we need to do something. We need to improve. We need to kind of, I don't know, in the summer there needs to be a ruthless clear out of. Look, I don't think we can clear out every player we want. You know, there is a situation where I think we'd all love to see 10, 12 players go out the window, but it's not going to happen because we haven't got the funds. But I do think there needs to be a ruthless clear out in terms of the old guard. They need to take the old guard out who are poisoning the barrel, who are poisoning the pool, take them out, get rid of them and bring in some younger players who can add to this. And like John says, some Scottish players, you know, like Connor Barron, like Lennon Miller, like Lawrence Shankland, who understand what Rangers are, who understand what the club means, who understand how to play for this club. For me, that's an absolute must this summer. It's a massive must this summer. Yeah, I agree. I fear the majority of incoming players with frees or loans. That is a big worry, Hugster. I suppose we've got to hope that Koppen has got his PSV head on and can get us some PSV style players like Bakayoko, like what's that guy called who plays up for Noah Lang, like Joey Veerman, those types of guys that he's brought in to PSV, and Sibari, and the guy who went to Nottingham Forest whose name escapes me now. Celtic aren't good. Shit the bed yet again in the UCL and didn't win the League Cup. And Aberdeen will dump them out of the Scottish Cup. Rangers will win the league. I hope you're right, Philip. I can't see it happening, but I do hope you're right. If we were in for any reputable freeze, surely would have heard some rumours by now. Says Bluebells. Need to stop bringing in more. Yeah, I agree. We need to. Obviously, that's a big thing. We need to make sure players that we bring in are fit and have a good injury record in the thing. Look. Sunday is going to be massive, and we will look ahead to Sunday. We've got a lot of podcasts, a lot of lives coming up over the weekend as we build up towards the game on Sunday, guys. So please come and join us for them, and we'll look ahead. I think TM, I think you're drunk or you're a Celtic fan. I just think there's something wrong with you. We need more players like Silva. Please, we don't need more players like Silva. We definitely don't need more players. My head's getting hot now. We don't need more players like Silva. Definitely not. Definitely not. Bring back Nacho Novo. What was the name of the black player who scored the first goal against us at Ibrox for Slavia Prague? I'd have to look. I can't remember off the top of my head, buddy. I'll have a look. See if I can quickly find out. Yeah. Rangers v Slavia Prague results. Do you mean... when was that? That was a while ago. Oh, Sparta. It was Sparta Prague, wasn't it? Not Slavia Prague. Sorry, I put the wrong team in. Sparta Prague. What was the name of the guy? He was called Lucas Harrislin. He was the guy who scored at Ibrox. Lucas Harrislin. Is that the guy you're on about, buddy? Lucas Harrislin. Look, TM is now banned. He is a Celtic fan. Goodbye, TM. You are banned. How do you get... Well, we quickly get some points up for you. How do you get rid of Goldson when no one was interested when he was free? Can you release him without a penalty? No, you'd have to pay off his contract, CJ. Now, if you released him, you'd have to pay up his contract. How on earth didn't we go for Lewis Ferguson? Not once, but twice his criminal. Agreed. I think some of it may be down to a snobbery towards Scottish players. I think there is a snobbery towards Scottish players from some within Rangers. Wrong. I know. Tav deserves another year, so he gets testimonial. He's the money, or he could go to Saudi, says Scott. Coppen will need a magic wand. He will definitely need a magic wand. Stuart says, I've been commenting on Stuart. My internet's been slow. Come on. That's why it's got to be that he does not play. It's gone. He is gone. Don't worry. TM has been banned from our live chat. Guys, look, build up towards Sunday. We've got to win Sunday. At least a cup double this season would be some reward for the team. But we do need a ruthless overhaul in the summer, a change of attitude, a change of mentality, and the cereal bottle jobs gone. Guys, keep checking out Glasgow Rangers Nation, your home of your free Rangers content. No Patreons, no paywalls. If you haven't checked out the video that I released this evening, Respect to Dujon, he tells it as it is. That is out now. Please check that out. Obviously, reflections on what Dujon has had to say in his interview. Absolutely. Just wondered if we could get him in the summer. No, I meant Slavia. Oh, Slavia. Wasn't it? I think the Rangers board just don't want to give any money to Scottish clubs. It's a shout. Absolutely. We are the fucking people. We are. Absolutely, guys. Right, guys, please, obviously, on the way out, if you can smash the like for me. And please always remember, we are